Hi, I'm Sophie Chalmers, and in this poster presentation, I'll be talking about my objective and subjective reflections of a pre-doctoral fellowship. So I'm a speech and language therapist with a specialism and interest in laryngeal dysfunction, including the airways, voice and swallowing. And prior to the pre-doc, I completed a clinical academic secondment, which provided me with some grassroots research skills kind of on the ground. And then I sort of realised that I was ready to start applying research in a more focused way to more focused clinical areas. And I'm interested in this topic of laryngeal hypersensitivity and swallowing disorders because it's a poorly understood area, but also interestingly, patients tell us about the significant impact, such as social avoidance, fear of choking, panic, anxiety, and even eating less. So my aim of the pre-doc was to establish key research priorities in this area of the future study, using 5 core projects to do this, each which flowed on from another. And so I used PPIE, a scoping review, a master's module in qualitative research, research priority setting, and of course the workup of a PhD application. And throughout this past year, I've been really proud of some of my pre-doc outputs, such as the scoping review publication, currently under review, but also the initial PPIE directed the scoping review question, focus and methods. And also I had other clinician stakeholders involved in the scoping review, so they're also co-authors. To aid dissemination, I'm going to present the scoping findings at a national conference and an international conference in the next 2 months to try and spread the word as well. So I want to draw your attention to the left-hand side of the poster. I realised that the pre-doc had ripple effects, so not just specific impacts, so for example, highlighting evidence practice gaps, but also the pre-doc gave me the opportunity to mentor 2 other individuals on the NIHR early career researcher pathway and to support others on this same journey as well. And I was also involved in an external project, which was highly commended at the CAPO Awards this year for research impact. And another external project was I was a lead author in the value of AHP research engagement, which gave me the perspective of these types of ripple effects of this research activity and engagement. So the pre-doc hasn't just aided my learning and development, which I'll go on and talk about in a minute, but also for the wider team in terms of providing additional clinical skills and expertise to the service, highlighting these symptoms to the MDT where before they might have been missed. And by publishing the research priorities, it will eventually highlight these to my wider profession, but also sort of the wider MDT, but also again kind of contributes to the trust objectives as well for excellence and innovation in patient care. So I thought about the first 3 months of my pre-doctoral fellowship, and that's where that picture in the very middle, which really was where I used to go to walk, get headspace, clear my mind, think about all the success that I had had, but also sort of the hardships along the pre-doc as well. And in those first 3 months, I actually decided to change my clinical role. I changed trust. And also the PPIE I had originally done told me that my original research topic wasn't really a priority for the patients. And so I really had to embrace a change in direction. And this gave me lots of personal growth in terms of sitting with that feeling of being uncomfortable, having to be flexible and adaptable, even when you think that that's the right approach to take. I learned about the different mindset of a clinician and an academic and how sometimes those have friction, but like with awareness, you can make them benefit both roles. As I said before, I was holding the ladder for others and got to experience mentorship. And using the CAPA framework, I could really objectively see where I was moving in terms of research leadership, education, methods, and dissemination within sort of a research competency framework. And all the while, it really showed me how important sort of solidifying and growing the connections and networks really was, but also sort of developing friendships along the way. So our enthusiasm can continue despite sort of, the knockbacks or the things that don't go so well. So what's next for me then? Um, I'm working up a PhD application for the spring of next year, and this will be to describe the core characteristics and impact of laryngeal hypersensitivity in swallowing. I'll also be developing my clinical skills in laryngeal dysfunction in the tertiary service, and I'll continue to disseminate the practical implications of this pre-doc, both to my profession and the wider MDT. And all of this is eventually to contribute to national guidance, and hopefully these patients who experience this impact of this type of swallowing difficulty can kind of seek the treatment or validation that they so desperately need. So hopefully I will be able to join part of the day, the showcase day, but I hope you enjoyed my presentation. Thanks.